Today we're going to talk about Flowtech, minerals in water essentially, what a traditional water softener does and what a Flowtech does. What the difference is between the two systems, how to test it once it's been installed, whether it be a softener or a Flowtech home anti-scale system, and how to identify signs and symptoms. This is something that is simply a tool for your toolbox. Okay, this shouldn't be something that's hard when you guys are out there. We're not looking for you guys to try to sell something to a homeowner. This is simply providing options when you guys identify needs inside the house. So today we're talking about really just minerals in water. This particular segment is going to be just about minerals, calcium and magnesium, the white stuff that you see on aerators, faucets, shower doors, etc. Okay, so I want to keep it really simple. The two main things on city water that you would need: carbon filter for removing chlorine, chloramine, herbicides, pesticides, industrial solvents. Obviously in a hard water market, you're going to need something to address minerals. To date, really the only consistent thing has been a traditional water softener. We've been selling Flowtech here for about 4 years. I think it'll be 4 years today, I think this month, that you guys have been offering it. We've put in over 400 systems as a group, Hiller has, with tremendous results. So just know once it's installed, people love it. We do offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on the Flowtech system as well. Okay, we want people to have it for at least 90 days, but anytime from 90 days up to a year, we have a money-back guarantee. So this segment, we're going to talk about hard water problems and high-tech solutions, how to identify the needs when you're inside the house, what physical water treatment is, what devices are out there, why some work better than others, how to install the system, and then how to test it after it's been installed. First of all, what makes water hard? Basically minerals in water, calcium and magnesium. It's expressed as terms of dissolved calcium carbonate. It's measured in 3 different ways. It's going to either be milligrams per liter, parts per million, or grains per gallon. Most common is going to be grains per gallon. We also want to talk in terms that's easy for a homeowner to understand. Okay, I want to make it very easy. It seems like the water treatment world's been trying to make everything very difficult or hard to understand, almost trying to trick people into buying water treatment. We want to do the exact opposite. We want to make it very easy for them to understand. And the Nashville market, in this particular area, we're about 14 grains hard. So you guys should see it. Let's say they got some sort of conditioning device or a water softener on there, you guys should pretty much be able to identify symptoms on every service call. Anything over really 7 grains per gallon is considered hard water. Obviously here in the Nashville market we're about 14. It's a map obviously of the United States. About 80% of the United States has hard water, so obviously there's a very big opportunity for water treatment. Who's installed a water heater recently? I'd say in the last 30 days. Okay, how much did the water heater weigh that you took out? Twice as much as the new one probably. The reason it weighs so much is because it's literally filled with mineral on the inside. If you've got that much mineral on the inside, you have massive loss of heat transfer. In turn, you're going to have to heat that water a lot more to get that temperature up to 120 degrees. Depends on what you have it set at. But in turn, they have a major efficiency loss. The average water heater in the United States actually costs between $600 and $900 to operate. But if you get a brand new, say, gas water heater, it's going to say $250, $275 on the side of it when it's brand new, say it's gas. If it's electric, it's going to be around $500. So if the average water heater costs between $600 and $900, it says $250 on the side, what's the disconnect? That's the estimated first annual usage, okay, what it's going to cost. But the reality is in a hard water market, you start getting that buildup right away. You get a 1/4 inch of limescale buildup, you get 40% efficiency loss. Obviously the ones that you guys are removing have inches of buildup on the inside. In turn, the thing's going to be extremely inefficient. So signs, showers and baths, faucets and fixtures, basically what we're looking for. Water heater failing prematurely. Water dishes and glasses, water used in appliances, soap scum. Let's talk about that water heater just a little bit longer. Say a 50-gallon electric water heater. What does that actually cost to heat? About $585, about $500. So in turn, you guys need to be pointing that stuff out. Me personally, if I was going, say I had $4 grand as a budget and I was looking for a new water heater, would I be better off to go tankless with no anti-scale system or no device as far as conditioning the water, or go tank type water heater? I would definitely go, me personally, I would go tank type with something to do and condition the water. That way I don't have to have that thing serviced annually. Okay, I know you're supposed to drain and flush the water heaters annually. How often do people really do that? It's another thing as well. You guys need to be the educators when we're out in the field, teaching people basically what's going on and why these services need to be done. More visual inspections. Is there white crusty buildup in the shower head? Is there any mineral deposits and spots and faucets in the house? Does the sprayer in the kitchen not work or spray awkwardly? Turn that thing upside down. You need to be pointing these things out. Seeing's believing for a homeowner. So when you guys do a walkthrough, how often do you actually walk through the house with the homeowner? What did you say? What's that? 20% of the time you're walking through with the house? So how are you going to show the homeowner that you got a problem if you're not walking through the house with them? Okay, absolutely. Take pictures. You guys all have tablets. You got smartphones if you don't have tablets. You need to be taking pictures of these particular areas. So when you sit down to provide your options, you're showing them their problem. Okay? Once we've identified their problem, you can now provide the proper solutions based on what the needs are. So take pictures. Take close-ups of the aerators. You don't want to take a picture of the whole bathroom, right? We don't want to freak them out. But take pictures of the shower doors, shower heads, tub spouts, top of the water heater, etc. We're building a case, essentially, as to why water treatment's a need. Actually, what you'll find in most cases on the potable water side, the reason you're in the house in the first place is due to poor water quality. So we need to identify what those issues are. Why'd the water heater fail? It's all due to aggressive water, mineral buildup on the inside. Why is the faucet failing? Why do cartridges fail? Ball valves, pressure regulators. You start thinking about it. We don't want to just create Band-Aid solutions here. We want whole house fixes. So a lot of times when you're presenting your options, well, Mrs. Jones, you really don't have a plumbing problem here. You got a water problem. Unless we do something to address the water, you're going to continue to see me, unfortunately. Right? We got to address the water first and what's causing it all. Is it encrusted with brown and white minerals? Soaps do not react very well to hard water. Matter of fact, the term hard water comes from England, meaning hard to lather. Your soap doesn't lather up very well when we've got hard water. With Flowtech, our anti-scale system, the soap test does work. You should see about, in a market like this, about 30 to 40% greater soap lather. In turn, there's less shampoo, laundry detergent, and dishwashing detergent. How does scale form? Increase in temperature and decrease in pressure. Okay, for those of you that do not know this, you guys really need to get this down. People buy from people that know more than they do. Okay, guys that they trust, that are knowledgeable, that are teaching them and educating them as to what their problems are, what their signs and symptoms are, and what the proper solutions are. This is a great way to show the homeowner that you really know what you're talking about. Okay? Because you need to understand how that scale is forming on that aerator, or on that shower head, or on that tub spout. So scale forms when there's an increase in temperature or a decrease in pressure. These are called supersaturation points. Let me explain what supersaturation is real quick. We got a great scenario today. We got the sky outside. It's raining out. Okay, there's always moisture in the air. As we get more moisture, we start to form clouds. As there's more moisture, those clouds turn gray, and then ultimately it starts to rain. That rain point is called a supersaturation point, and mineral precipitates out of the water. Same exact thing happens with minerals in our plumbing system. Essentially, we've got calcium, magnesium in water, and as it travels through the plumbing system, hits the water heater area, there's an increase in temperature. What happens is that mineral wants to precipitate out of the water. It's pulled out of the water, wants to stick to something besides itself. Then it sticks to the fire tube on the inside of a gas water heater. It's going to stick to the heating elements on electric, or your heat exchanger on a tankless. Mineral precipitates out. Same thing happens at all your mixing valves. Cold water mixes with hot water in a shower valve. In turn, there's an increase in temperature on the cold water side, and that's why that mineral sticks inside of a cartridge. Or on your shower heads, or on your riser up to the shower head, or on your tub spout, or on your aerators, etc. What's happening in all these instances is an increase in temperature. In turn, that mineral precipitates out. You start to get scale formation. So you need to be able to educate the homeowners to what's happening here, how this is happening, and why it's happening. When you guys change out a shower valve, what do you normally do with the shower valve? Throw it in the bucket, bring it back to recycle, etc. What you need to be doing is bringing it back to the homeowner, showing exactly why you had to replace it, what's going on the inside of that. They got 2 other shower valves just like it. If we don't do something about the water, they're going to have issues in those particular areas as well. Then show them the shower head, the faucets, the tub spouts, and all the other areas and symptoms of it as well, stuff that they can actually see. So discuss physical water treatment. What is it? According to the WQA, which is the Water Quality Association, physical water treatment is a process utilizing a form of energy to alter the behavior of specific targeted compounds or elements within water in order to accomplish a specific goal without significantly altering the water's chemistry. It's a mouthful. Seems like the WQA always tries to make stuff a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. We broke it down here a little bit and made it a little bit easier. It's using non-chemical methods to alter the state of molecules inside water and stop scale from forming. There's magnets that have been around for decades, literally. They work much better than industrial processes, these DMX magnets. We've got electromagnetic fields, the coil wrap devices that are out there. Very inconsistent in a residential application because the water's not always flowing in a house. Somebody might flush the toilet, the water runs for a second, it's going to run past that coil, then it stops for a period of time. What happens is that signal is they're essentially forming clusters of minerals, but ultimately fall back to their normal state after a short period of time. And then we've got catalytic, which is going to be next media. Some of you guys have seen some of these different media-based systems. Watts has a product called Heater Treater, where they've got next media in it. These little beads are charged. The water goes through these beads, essentially forms clusters, but those, just like the coil systems, et cetera, those things ultimately fall back to their normal state, and you're going to get inconsistencies when you're trying to treat a whole house. Here's some of these different coil wrap devices that you see that are out there. This is the field of influence. It's only below this particular coil. Same thing with the magnets. It's only going to be below the magnet where that signal is induced. And then we've got some of these tank type systems as well. Sometimes you'll see a carbon system that's got a magnet on the inside. Same thing. Good carbon filter, but very inconsistent as far as an anti-scale system or a descaler. What makes us different is we actually drive a signal into the fluid everywhere throughout the house. Our residential unit, whether it be our waterproof unit or the one that I showed earlier up here, which is our non-waterproof unit, they both have a signal that's driven about a mile into the fluid column, both upstream and downstream. So whether the water's flowing or not, we're going to constantly hold minerals in this cluster formation. And then when there's an increase in temperature or decrease in pressure, we actually form these seed crystals. So we're the only ones that can actually drive our signal about a mile into the fluid. There are far more commercial systems available. If you do have a commercial job, anything over 1.5 inches, you need to go to our commercial size units. Okay, I also did include in front of all you guys, you have a technical data sheet. Sometimes you're going to run into the engineer type that want to know exactly what we're doing. Okay? You've got the engineer type that wants to know exactly what we're doing. Just break out this particular piece of paper or give me a call, one of the two. But this is exactly what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and read it for you guys. We're doing Flowtech generates a radio frequency, so it's a low AM band radio frequency around the 140 kilohertz range. It's induced into the entire plumbing system and creates a diminishing sine wave, almost like a heart monitor, if you've ever seen a heart monitor. It's a diminishing sine wave that's induced literally about a mile into the fluid column. It randomly switches on and off about 40,000 times per second. The effect is the distribution of the layer of the water molecule around the calcium carbonate ion. This allows a positive calcium ion, a cation, to join with a negative carbonate ion, an anion, that acts like a seed crystal. The system is capable of producing hundreds of billions of these nucleation events per second throughout the entire plumbing system. When the heat or pressure change occurs and the solution becomes supersaturated, these seed crystals start to join and form clusters, or homogeneous scale. They essentially want to stick to the same like versus heterogeneous scale, where we want to stick to something besides itself or its like. It's when it starts sticking to the heat exchangers, heating elements, cartridges, aerators, tub spouts, etc. Okay, so that is the technical term of it. Keep it simple. Just let people know scale forms when there's an increase in temperature or a decrease in pressure. That's exactly what we're looking at in these particular situations. Understanding technology, or where the technology is derived from, it comes from the petrochemical world. Okay? System is used on oil wells around the world now. When you pump oil out of the ground, there's a decrease in pressure. That's also one of those supersaturation points. What happens is, as there's that decrease in pressure, it's not just oil that's being pumped out of the ground. There's minerals with water associated with it as well. And that mineral precipitates out of the water, starts to stick to something besides itself, and it sticks to the inside of the pipe, etc. So know that the technology is much bigger than just the water treatment world. It's being used in the oil industry, beer lines, swimming pools, dairies. There's multiple uses for it now. Wherever any mineral wants to precipitate out of the water, we can eliminate that from happening and hold the mineral in suspension. So people purchase not only when you guys have identified the needs and you're providing the proper solution for it, people purchase when the features or benefits outweigh the price. So we also need to build a case as to why water treatment is going to be a good value for them and what their payback is going to be. So we talked about earlier the average water heater costing between $600 and $900 to operate, but when it's brand new, it's going to say $280 for gas and around $500, $550 for electric. People also purchase when the price essentially is going to be outweighed by the value and what it's actually doing. So just straight wear on a water heater, not talking about any energy usage, your savings is about $27 annually. Your washing machine is about $17, dishwasher is about $13, versus your fuel cost is going to be a lot more substantial, saving about $130 annually. Traditional water softeners cost about $180 to operate. Your detergent cost should be cut to about 30 to 40% difference. So annual savings is going to be about $487. So if you guys are selling this, around the $2,200, $2,500 mark, essentially it's going to be paid off in about 4 or 5 years. This system should last upwards of 20 years as long as it's installed in a dry area. So it becomes a very good value, and you can show them when their payoff essentially is going to be paid off. And what are the benefits of Flowtech? Does not use salts or chemicals, protects appliances and fixtures, removes existing scale buildup. So actually in some ways it does work better than a traditional water softener. And I want you guys going back out there, especially if you've not installed one or it's your first one, I want you guys going back out there 90 days to anytime between 90 days and 6 months after it's been installed. I want you guys taking before and after pictures as well. Seeing's believing not only for a homeowner, but seeing's believing for you guys as well. I want you guys to see the difference, the before and afters. I want you to drain and flush the water heater after 90 days, and I want you to see how much debris actually comes out. It's amazing. It's going to look almost like little tiny white beads of sand when you drain and flush the water heater after it's been installed for a period of time, because it's got to go somewhere. A lot of it we're putting back in solution, but some of it's going to fall out into the bottom of that water heater, and we need to get rid of it. Okay, so I do encourage you guys to go back out there and do these drain and flushes. You're going to have increased energy efficiency. There's no maintenance required. Saves money, up to 50% soap detergent savings. Saves space. It's environmentally friendly and healthy. And you do not get any, there's no drain or wasted water. You do not get that slick or slimy feel like you do from a traditional water softener. Okay, so it's a very good value. How to install it? It's simple. I think technicians like it the most because it is so simple. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick diagram here on exactly how you would do an install. On a traditional water heater, you want to install it right at the water heater area. I get a lot of calls from homeowners that call like, my technician installed it at my water heater. I don't think it's protecting the whole house. It absolutely is. Because we drive our signal in the fluid both upstream and downstream, we're able to either mount it right on the wall or to the pipe, simply ground clamped to the pipe. You do a jumper with the secondary wire that comes with it over to the hot feed out, and you want to plug it in to a grounded outlet. It does have to be plugged into a grounded outlet or it will not work properly. So it's not like an extension cord we can just break off the ground, plug it in. You cannot do that with the system. It will not drive the signal into the fluid if we do that. We have to have 2 points of ground. The electrical system's always grounded and your plumbing system's always grounded. So we're able to drive that signal both upstream and or downstream and upstream, literally upwards of a mile into the fluid column. This is the best place for an install. This is by no means the only place for the install. That's why we have testing wands with it. You can either use a picoscope, an oscilloscope, or go easy with the testing wand. Basically what you're looking for, guys, is when you're at the unit, you're going to see a solid white light like you can see here. It's picking up the frequency. As you get further and further away, we're looking for a diminishing sine wave, just a slight flickering of the light. The white light is what we're looking for. As you get further and further away, the light's going to start flickering less and less. You only need to get signal at a couple other locations besides the location that it's installed. We couldn't make these things too sensitive, or it'd simply be going off all the time because of wireless internet or TV on or microwave or what have you. So just know that if you're not getting signal everywhere throughout the house, you're okay. As long as you get at least 2 other locations, we know we've got millivolts in the fluid and we're going to work 100% of the time. As far as our guarantee goes, we've got your back essentially. We want happy customers just like you guys want happy customers. We do offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. We want people to have it for at least 90 days. Okay, and the reason they have to have it for at least 90 days is early on we might make the problem worse. We're descaling the system. So if they've got a 5, 6-year-old water heater that's got 2 inches of limescale buildup on the inside, we're putting a lot of that back into solution. They might actually get more buildup early on as far as shower doors, etc. It won't actually stick, but they might see a little bit more residual left over early on. So just know that we want it in for 90 days. Anytime from 90 days up to 1 year, though, we have a 100% money-back guarantee to you guys that they're going to love it, essentially. You guys have installed, like I said earlier, over the last, I think it's about 4 years now, upwards of 400 units. I think we've taken a total of like 2 or 3 back as a whole. You're going to have the 1%ers. Reality is once it's installed, it's very rare that it actually comes out. Okay? Worst case scenario, if they're not doing, say somebody's used to a traditional water softener. I want to be very clear, this is not a water softener. We're not removing minerals from water. We're rendering the mineral harmless. If somebody wants a water softener, we all sell water softeners. Okay? Provide them what they want. If you want minerals 100% out of the water, the only way to do it currently is with traditional water softener. Just know that we are working on that as well. We're ultimately trying to do chemical-free mineral removal as well, and that's something that we've got coming down the pipeline. As far as install goes, pretty basic though. Just make sure that you are testing it. We want to make sure that it's installed properly. It's why it's sold only through professional service contractors, is because we want to have it tested. We know as long as it's tested, it's installed properly, we're going to have great success. So if we're installing a filter with it, huge advocate of obviously clean water. Filtration is going to be the best solution for this particular market, a combination of both. Because we've got hard water, we're rendering the mineral harmless, calcium and magnesium, we're not allowing it to stick anything. We're still leaving it in the water, which is going to make the water taste good. And then obviously a whole house carbon filter is going to go in front of it before it enters the house. This is actually going to be by the water heater area. You can actually install it at this particular area as well. As long as you've got a tester and you got a good signal, you'll be in good shape as long as you've got good signal. Carbon filtration is going to really take care of all the other stuff that the anti-scale system doesn't. It's going to address chlorine, chloramine, herbicides, pesticides, industrial solvents, make the water taste and smell better, etc. So really the best option for a homeowner in this particular market is going to be a combination of both. RO is going to be the only thing that removes fluoride currently. Actually, that's not true. You can remove fluoride with charred bone filters. From a whole house standpoint, I've never sold one, but they do have charred bone out there. Where the water actually goes through it, it removes the fluoride from a whole house. Fluoride's not easily absorbed by the skin. It's only when it's ingested, when it's actually consumed, is when you're going to get that fluoride. So generally, a RO, reverse osmosis, is going to do the trick for most homeowners. We work with all temporary minerals and most permanent scales as well. Okay, so we do. Heavy metals, no, we're not going to have any effect on heavy metals. So if we're dealing with well water, I want to be very clear. This is primarily for city use. You can absolutely use a Flowtech system on a well if we're just addressing minerals. But just know that we charge $80 to do a well water test. I do samples for you guys quite often. Know that it is $80. We send it off to our laboratory, and then we get the results and provide options based on what that well's needs are. Okay? Well is a different animal. Well water is a different animal. They could have Giardia or bacteria, virus, iron, manganese, hydrogen sulfide, or a lot of these different issues. So we want to make sure that we're addressing it properly, providing the right solutions based on what the needs are. But as far as city water goes, anywhere in this entire area, surrounding area, your best option for minerals, hard water, is going to be the traditional water softener or Flowtech. And most people don't drink their tap water because of chlorine and chloramine. They don't like the way it tastes or smells. How many of you guys drink your tap water? Okay, just raw, straight tap water, unfiltered. Okay? Virtually nobody in the room. My point being is, if you're not drinking it, nor your neighbors. So the reality is they need solutions for it. You can do a whole house filter. It's going to filter for about 1.5 million gallons, make the water taste and smell better. It's also going to protect their flappers, seats, seals, etc. Any questions on Flowtech specific, our anti-scale system?